Welcome to The Gift of Life with Gregg. I'm your host, Gregg Francis, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Barry Kaplan. We save lives, plain and simple. Have you known someone stricken with leukemia? Has a family member of yours suffered from lymphoma? Then turn up your dial. This show is for you. We are the gift providing a second life. We are the gift of life. Since 1999, we've saved over 2,700 lives. For many patients with blood cancer, bone marrow donation is often their last hope, and that's where we come in. We try hard at what we do, but we will never be satisfied until we can say, one day, we found a match anytime, anywhere, for anyone. That's the gift of life way. So now we have the scissors, we've opened the box, and now it's time to unwrap the gift of life. Great January 20th, 2015. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our show, Gift of Life with Gregg, along with my co-host, Marty Freund. I hope not Barry Kaplan. We'll get that changed next week. I hope everybody really had a wonderful week. I know that we did. Last week's show recapped the intimate letters that donors and recipients shared anonymously for the year after the patient's transplant. Now, as mentioned last week by Marty, in the United States, there's a 1-year moratorium post-donation until a donor and recipient can physically meet if they so choose. They could correspond anonymously during this interval, and most donors and recipients exercise this ability. The question we posed last week was, if you had the ability to meet the person whose life that you saved, would you wish to? Conversely, we also asked, if you had the opportunity to meet the person who saved your life, would you hope to do so as well? And all of our listeners, we had a 100% response rate that the donors and recipients both wanted to meet the person who saved their life and whose life they saved. So it was surprising. I didn't think that it was going to be a perfect 100%, but that's in fact what it was. For those of you who tuned in last week, the week before that, last month, and for the last 5 months, you know that September is Blood Cancer Awareness Month. It's January, mid-January now. However, only creating awareness for 1 month will not solve the blood cancer epidemic. So we have to continue spreading the word, and we ask our listeners to do the same. And that's a little bit what we're going to get into later today, what the listeners want of us. Pacific Islanders are having a tough time. Hispanic people are underrepresented. Our Asian friends are underrepresented. African American friends are underrepresented. And I had some discussions with some minority groups affected over the past week, and people are unnecessarily dying just because people don't know what the process is. And that's something that we could easily teach. And again, patients suffering from these aforementioned ethnicities will find a match less than 50% of the time if they don't have a match in their family. So that means, more or less, let's put it in blunt terms, over 50% of these people that are suffering from blood cancer in these aforementioned underrepresented ethnicities will die. It's unacceptable, and we have the infrastructure to make it better. If you're interested in getting involved, please call Bridget, Nathan, and or Frederick today at 1-800-9-MARROW to get more information on how you can get involved and inevitably save people's lives. For those who have been our supporters, firstly, thank you. Welcome back, and we thank you for all that you've done to spread awareness and transpire action for our show and for our cause. Because of you, we are ranked the #1 radio show on 1470 WWNN, our flagship station, as well as being the #1 bone marrow radio show worldwide. And yes, there are plenty around the world. I didn't know it myself at the time, but it turns out that there are. As previously mentioned, thanks to you, our supporters, our show very, very soon in the first quarter of 2015 is going to be syndicated in 6 major cities. So more awareness, more people swabbing, more contributions, and the culmination of that is going to equal more lives being saved. In 2014 alone, Gift of Life Bone Marrow Foundation was responsible for saving 130 lives, bringing our total to date to over 3,000, and not only 3,000 patients, but 3,000 families. I also want to thank all the backup donors that were never called. They were just as brave, willing, and able to go forward. They just didn't receive the call that they were the perfect match. But again, I always like to give thanks to the backup. They never receive a lot of credit, but their humility and their bravery are just fantastic. Again, I want to congratulate the team at 800 Yamato Road, and congratulations to our listeners. Without all of our collective efforts, we could never have made that happen. And as our mantra for 2015, I want to touch upon Arlene Feinberg, who is the matriarch of Gift of Life, who unfortunately passed away just about a year ago. And Arlene had a vision to match anytime, anywhere, for anyone that is suffering from blood cancer. And in 2015, our collective goal is to make Arlene's vision Arlene's reality. And we're going to touch upon this about our genesis 20 years ago and where we are now. For those people who are joining us in 2015 for the first time, hop on board. Welcome, Gift of Life with Gregg. I'm Gregg Francis, along with my friend first and foremost and my co-host Marty Freund. Welcome to our show. We encourage all of our listeners to call in at any time. The number 1-888-565-1470. Again, that's 1-888-565-1470. We're here every Tuesday evening. Today it's a little overcast, but we can't complain. It's about 72 degrees. From 4 to 5 p.m. here again on 1470 AM WWNN. Marty, why we're here? We're here to spread awareness about the Gift of Life Bone Marrow Foundation, a life-saving nonprofit that, as we mentioned before, saved over 3,000 lives. But it gives patients like our friend Sammy, who's about 7 years old now, a second chance at life. And we want people who are not afflicted by blood cancer, who are not afflicted by leukemia, who are not afflicted by lymphoma, of how special life is, how every day of health and happiness is a true gift of life. So please take stock of what I'm saying. Every day of health and happiness is a true gift of life, and unfortunately we run across many people that don't have that health and happiness because they're fighting blood cancer. Before I go any further, and it's a mantra and staple of the show, I have to thank my own gifts of life, people who make me smile every day and remind me of how lucky I am, to undoubtedly my biggest fan, my mom Katie, who was listening in Lake Worth today with Aunt Miriam. Hi Mom, I love you. Hi Aunt Miriam. Say hello to Uncle Jerry. Thank you. I want to get the whole family involved. To my biggest Maryland fans, and hello and thank you, Grandma Margie, who I saw this weekend, had a great time with her, and she frequented some of the casinos around and had a good time. And the chairman of the board, who was in Florida, Mr. Billy Beagle, who was in Florida last week, going to be in New York on Thursday, and then in D.C. on the weekend. Billy, I can't thank you enough for your passion and for the work that you do. And to my gifts of life, Nicholas, who is 12, and Patrick, who is 8, had a great day with you yesterday. Had a great lunch. We played some soccer together in the park. Nick's 12, Pat's 8. Boys, I love you. So,
did Grandma Margie win at the casino?
Grandma Margie broke about even.
Nice.
So she had some time there, and she had a lot of fun, but Grandma Margie broke even. So
slots?
Yeah, slots.
Nice.
So the one-armed bandits didn't beat her up, but she had some fun. So as mentioned, our co-host for 2015, and Marty, I promise you next week that it's not going to say Barry Kaplan.
Bye, Barry.
Bye, Barry.
Hello,
and we
Marty.
saw Barry. Barry's going to be, taking his business and pottery to the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, and going to try to integrate both disciplines that he studied. So for next week's intro, it's going to be my dear friend Marty Freund. Marty stewards all the walks that we have, which include Boca Raton, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, D.C., Virginia. We could call it the capital region, but Maryland, D.C., Virginia sounds better. And Massachusetts this year. She also brings a wealth of experience for Gift of Life with community outreach. And I'm excited that Marty is joining us this year, and she pulled off a Herculean event, which I'll let her talk about now. So, Marty, welcome to the show again.
Thanks, Greg. So, as Greg mentioned, on Sunday was our 5th annual Walk for Life here in Boca, and we are closing in on $70,000. Yep.
Give yourselves a big round of applause, and also listeners, and also the committee.
Right. Everybody that supported the event, volunteered at the event. It was a really great day. Everybody witnessed a special meeting between the donor Matthew, who is 28 years old, and he met the 12-year-old girl whose life he saved, Andrea. And really beautiful. He brought his son on stage and credited his son's birth as a blessing from the donation that he gave to Andrea. So it was really just a touching ceremony, not a dry eye that morning.
Were you misty?
I think everybody was misty. Started off their 5K misty-eyed. So also what was so nice is we had so many transplant recipients and donors who also joined us. There were about, I believe, 7 donors and also about 7 transplant recipients, all who came out on Sunday. And again, about 500 in attendance. We had great raffle prizes.
Really good.
I'm sorry we didn't include Barry Kaplan's pottery as a raffle prize.
Maybe next year. Or sixth annual.
But again, great day, and we look forward to doing it all again next year.
Let me ask you, you have to be proud. This is your baby, and you've started this from ground zero. What did it mean to you to have 7 donors up there, 7 recipients? For me, that was probably the most moving part of the day.
Yeah, it was. I mean, just the culmination of everything that day between the donor-recipient meeting and the transplant recipients and other donors who are there, because, not every donor has the opportunity to meet the person whose life they saved. So it was really nice that it was a moment really for everybody there to partake in, especially the ones that joined us on stage.
It was great. We mentioned this last week. It has to be mutual that the donors and recipients want to meet. And if one party doesn't want to meet, then they're partners for life in anonymity. Right. Okay. So in that respect, it was very nice. I thought that Matthew was a wonderful speaker, and his son's middle name is Chaya, which I believe translates to God's gift, because they believe that he found out, a week after he found out that he was going to be the donor, that he found out that...
a week after his donation.
A week after his donation.
Mm-hmm. His wife found out that she was pregnant, so he really feels that his son was a gift from God and for saving the life of Andrea. So. And
he was really a good speaker. He's a jokester.
Yeah, big jokester. He told me the night before that he wasn't going to be able to make it to the event on time, so just to make me sweat, and it worked. But one of the nicest things, in addition to the meeting, was just how inclusive he was of his son really being a part of the entire day. In fact, I don't think we have one picture of Matthew and Andrea. It's his son, I believe his son's name is David.
David
is in every picture with the two of them, and Andrea's holding him, and it was just, he was such a part of the day, and you could see that Matthew really feels that she's a part of his life.
What I was especially happy for our staff, and I mentioned this on a lot of shows, they do a lot of behind-the-scenes work, making sure that a donation goes off a harvest. And they actually saw the results of their hard work by witnessing a 12-year-old girl being saved. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people, I think that's the point where it resonates. What I'm doing really serves purpose in this world.
Yep. And witnessing every transplant recipient there on stage, because without the work of our office and our team and
Volunteers,
facilitating
yeah.
transplants. I mean, all of those people are here today thanks to the hard work of really everybody involved. So it wasn't just that one, it was everybody there.
It's just so incredible. So we have 48 members on our team, about 43 or 44 at the Boca Raton office. It's hard to mobilize, so we certainly count on volunteers, ambassadors, people that speak on our behalf, donors, recipients. Everybody collectively came out in mass, I think to the tune of over 500 people.
Yep.
And I think that's the high watermark for us, right?
Yeah, so far. And I mean, if you were watching the local news, you could have caught the recap there. So it was a great day.
It really was. And now you got, as they say in football, 24 hours to enjoy your victory. And now we have another walk coming up in Boston.
Yeah, I think it was less than, I think it actually started that day. It was
Okay.
Like that day people started with Boston. Because I actually had people at the Boca Walk saying they heard about Boston. In fact, Jill, who did the national anthem on the clarinet.
Very nice.
Yes. Her son is in Boston, and she said already wanted to contact him about the walk. So, yeah, not even 24 hours. It's begun.
You know what was neat? A lot of people that live in Boca, and we're not talking about the proverbial snowbirds, wanted to come up to the event because they have family there or just to witness this again. Some actually people asked that if they could volunteer at the next event. So if we
Yes.
could tell them, and we have people that actually listen in Boston. One of our campus ambassadors goes to Boston College, and their cohort are listening there. So if we could tell them a little bit about the Boston Walk, excuse me.
Yeah, so the Boston Walk will be Sunday, April 26th at the Chestnut Hill Reservoir.
All right.
And I know that our office was actually just emailing with Michael, who's in BC today, and we're excited for him to be a part of it and to involve the students there. We specifically made the walk in April before graduation so that they can join us. And again, it's going to be the first one, so it's, got to start off with a great one.
Yeah, no, we'll start off with a bang. It's going to be, I love the walks. I love getting to meet the families. I love seeing that the people that are healthy and that we're fighting adversity and they're really enjoying life. I think it recalibrates what's important to them, but I see that families are hugging each other. It's very emotional. That's why I said that we're not only saving the critically ill patient, but also their family as well. Mm-hmm. And so many great stories have resonated from that it never gets boring. And I think, as you said last week, it was a good prognostication. There wouldn't be a dry eye in the house, and I think that held true on Sunday. So we have a lot of initiatives that we're going to go over in 2015, and to let you know where we started and where we're at right now, and we're going to commission our listening audience help. So when we get back in a few minutes after we take a quick break, we want to tell you the exciting initiatives for 2015. Stay tuned to Gift of Life with Gregg. We'll be back in a moment.
ThrowItBetter.com. Do you need help with your bowling game? Are you taking the right 5-step approach? If you want to become a competitive bowler, even a recreational bowler that's considering joining a league, or a league bowler that is considering joining a tournament, you need to see Vince. He's going to show you how to throw it better. He'll get you the right equipment. He'll show you the right approach. And as a certified coach, he'll put you in the best position to succeed. If you're interested, please contact Vince at throwitbetter@gmail.com and tell him that Gregg sent you. Again, that's throwitbetter@gmail.com, or call Vince at 954-541-5414.
We want to extend a special thanks to our friends at the Boca West Foundation for all the wonderful work they do for Gift of Life and for all the meaningful service they give to the Boca Raton community. For over 3 years, the Boca West Foundation has generously supported local charities in the Boca Raton area. The Boca West Foundation. It's all about the kids. Are you in the market for a health plan? If so, please visit my good friend Gary at Health Plans Unlimited. No plan is too big or too small. Gary will customize a plan that's affordable and comprehensive, just for you. If you're interested, please visit Gary Goldman, the best in the biz, at www.healthplansunlimited.com. Again, that's www.healthplansunlimited.com. Or you can call Gary Goldman directly on his personal line at 954-303-6676. Again, that's 954-303-6676. And tell him that Gregg sent you directly from the Gift of Life. Health Plans Unlimited. We have the health plan for you. Welcome back to the Gift of Life with Gregg, the show that talks about giving and receiving. If you'd like to call into our show, we'd love to hear from you. Please call 888-565-1470. Again, that's 888-565-1470. And now, back to our show.
All right, welcome back to the Gift of Life with Gregg. And in the intro, it says Barry Kaplan, but I could assure you that it's Marty Freund, and we're going to get that changed next week. I promise you, Marty.
I'm not Barry Kaplan.
And you don't look like Barry Kaplan. So we're going to get that straight. I'm going to speak to Duff, who's on the other side of the glass, and we'll have the proper voiceover.
Thanks, Duff.
All right. So that's Ken, but Duff snuck out of the other side of the glass. What we're going to discuss today, Marty, is some exciting initiatives that we have in 2015. It's been a whirlwind. So we wanted to tell our listening audience where we came from and where we're going, and then we have a question for them. So I'll start out. And 20 years ago, when Jay Feinberg, our founder and chief executive officer of Gift of Life, was searching for a match, he was of Eastern European Jewish ancestry. And 20 years ago, a Jewish person of that ethnicity had about a 5% chance of finding a match if they were afflicted with blood cancer, provided that they could not find a match within their family, and that's only about 25% of the time. Today, due to the work of Gift of Life and others collectively in the bone marrow stem cell community, the registries, a Jewish person has greater than a 70% chance of finding an unrelated match due to recruitment efforts of Gift of Life. Now, there's still work to be done, no doubt about that, but over a 20-year span, and let's face it, what was almost a death sentence, now there's an excellent chance that you'll be saved. And that's really, really special to me, because we created a blueprint without a celebrity that really shows that if communities could get together, get your message out in a clear way, and show the ease of getting involved and getting registered in a bone marrow registry, plenty of lives could be saved, and there's no need for anybody to die. Where again, you were looking for a needle in a haystack, and now that's not the case anymore. So what we're trying to do is replicate that. In every opening monologue, we always talk about that there are ethnicities that are grossly underrepresented. And what we're going to try to do is get the word out in those communities. In many cases, we've been solicited, show them our blueprint, and help them, and they could help us. It'll be certainly mutually beneficial. The end result is, to society, it's win-win. Lives are going to be saved. So over a 20-year time, and a family that wouldn't take no for an answer really changed the world from 5% to 70%, over 70% now.
And I think what's one of the things that's so incredible that we usually don't talk about is 20 years ago, there was no social media. There was no, it was just a grassroots campaign that, didn't go viral. It went viral when there wasn't really anything to go viral with, I guess.
Yeah.
But as you said, we didn't have a celebrity, but I think the celebrity was really Arlene, who you mentioned earlier, Jay's mom. I mean, because of her and her unwillingness to accept the fate that her son wouldn't make it, she really, she started everything.
She's a hero.
Yeah, she's
She-
the Gift of Life celebrity.
Yeah, she is our gift of life. She's a world celebrity because she was a hero. She would not take no for an answer, and her enthusiasm and passion when other people found matches at drives for Jay was unbridled.
Right, and I don't know if a lot of people know, but it was due to the efforts that she began. There were 60,000 people swabbed over the course of 4 years, which is just incredible. And again, before the age of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all this.
Having
she
immediate
did it.
access to one another,
Yeah.
it was really...
It was her fax machine.
Yeah, it was, and you want to know, it's a crazy analogy, but without all the infrastructure that we have in place now, you have those more face-to-face meetings, and you could see people one-on-one and really get your cause out. Social media is a great thing, and I'm not demeaning it, but there's nothing like a face-to-face meeting explaining your cause, and I think at that time, for what we needed, it was the right medium that would eventually launch to what we have today.
Right, or a phone call, not a text message.
Message, right. not 140 characters, but you're speaking
Right.
to somebody on the phone, or you're traveling because you didn't have the infrastructure of getting on Skype.
Right.
It really was a dynamic that was necessary for the time, and I think it just catapulted with this. We're just adding and augmenting to really the grassroots that we laid down.
Right. We're almost, our registry is about almost, has grown fourfold.
Fourfold. Yeah, we're at about a 250,000 people. It's unbelievable.
Active people, and that doesn't even include the people you've recruited over the years who've aged out of the registry.
Correct. No, we have active about 250,000 people. And those are vetted every year to make sure they're highly available in the case that they're called for a match. So really what one woman did, a family, continued, and it morphed into Friends of Jay and now Gift of Life. But it's important because we speak every week about what Gift of Life is, that it's a bone marrow registry, but it's important to know where we started and how we've grown, and that we're certainly not finished yet. So, Marty, dovetailing into that, we recently had an MLK, a Martin Luther King initiative, this past weekend.
Yep, I think it might be just wrapping up today. There were some drives, I believe,
That were
yesterday and
correct.
today.
Correct.
And the initiative is between a synagogue that partners with a church. And part of the initiative is that the pastor will come and speak at the synagogue for Shabbat services.
Correct.
And the rabbi will then go give the sermon to the church for their services. And it's really aimed to raise awareness and bridge the gap between the two communities. And one way in which they were working together was to swab people and increase the registry. So as you said earlier, minorities are very underrepresented in the registries, all registries across the board. So through the Martin Luther King initiative, we really aimed to increase the number of minorities in Gift of Life's registry. And in addition to that, really just educating and raising awareness about what it means to be a bone marrow donor, how people can become bone marrow donors, and the lives that can be saved because of that.
It was incredible. It was something that I've been extremely passionate about since I've started with Gift of Life. I believe that we had 9 Martin Luther King day drives, where again they swapped. As you mentioned before, a rabbi spoke at church services, and a pastor spoke at Shabbat services. At the end of the day, we created awareness. And even if we could get 5% of those that we got in contact with to swab, they're going to go in and help an underrepresented cause. So it's win-win, and it's something that we want to build on. We want to get involved in communities where they are underrepresented, at least share with them our tactical knowledge, ask them what they're looking to accomplish, and have a symmetric relationship. So again, it was a wonderful initiative, and I hope that it's the first of many to come.
And I mean, people always look at how many did you swab or the number that you swabbed, but it's really almost, I think more importantly, is just educating people, because a lot of times you say the word bone marrow and everybody steps back and they make a really bad face and they think that it's something that it's really not, because really 80% of the time donations are done via peripheral blood stem cell donation, and 20% of the time is a traditional bone marrow donation, which is, both are one-day procedures. And I always try to put it into perspective that when people kind of shy away from the entire process, you have to think of what you're doing really pales in comparison to what the other person's going through. So, and you have the opportunity to save a life.
Yeah, in the worst case scenario, it feels like you're ice skating and you fell on your bottom. And for that, you save a life. And that's in the worst case scenario. A lot of people who we spoke to and actually been guests on the show have played basketball the day before their donation and tennis after. So as you said, with the PBSC, peripheral blood stem cell, that happens about 80% of the time. So just getting out that education and awareness, it sounds cliche, but it's important when there is underrepresentation, and let's just say underrepresentation is another word for needless people dying. So that's a big initiative that just took place, and this is something that Marty and I spoke about offline. Gift of Life is trying to have an initiative and program that goes throughout the course of the year. Every month we're going to try to harbor on something else that creates awareness, that creates people joining the registry, also self-serving, that helps financial contributions to help get kits swabbed.
We're a nonprofit.
Yeah, and it's not going into our pockets, it's going to help save people's lives. And what we're trying to do this year is, by keeping awareness, keep us on people's radar. We're going to try to have an event every single month. The next event, which are the archetype of two former donors, now employees of Gift of Life. One, Nicholas Hudson, who was on our inaugural show, graduated St. John's Law School, and at the time he donated marrow to a 4-year-old boy who's now 12. Played baseball camp at baseball camp this summer and is doing quite well. His name is Cameron and lives in New Hampshire. And Alec Birkin, who graduated in entrepreneurial finance, at Syracuse University, and he met his recipient at the 4th annual Boca Walk. They came up with this initiative called the CAP program, and CAP is the acronym for Campus Ambassador Program. And you met the 8 campus ambassadors on one of our shows right before Christmas. The initiative is going extremely well, and we plan on launching it to at least 50 or 100 ambassadors. We're at a grassroots level. They could penetrate their campus, get donors who statistically would be highly available because of their age bracket, and be right on the campus to answer any questions and assuage any fears. So it's a wonderful initiative that we're really hoping to grow and set out strategically, so while we could definitely continue our goal in the Jewish community, also continue our goals in the Hispanic, Asian, Pacific Islander, and African American communities. So I'm extremely excited to see how that is going to move on. Our next class, our current class right now, are at 8 universities that you met. And in the near future, we're going to be putting out the next iteration, soliciting resumes for those that want to be campus ambassadors, and who knows if that's going to lead to a full-time position. With the 2 that we mentioned, Alec and Nick, they're exemplary employees for Gift of Life. So the CAP program is another thing that we're taking to a new level, and it's something that we started really, as we mentioned before, Marty, 44 out of 48 of our staff are in Boca Raton. This way we have ambassadors that are actually at the campus level. They're actual students. So where better to get a grouping of 18 to 22-year-olds.
Right, and nobody knows better about what's going on the campus than the students that are there. So
rather than doing it remotely, we're taking it an organic approach. a cost-effective approach, which is going to yield a phenomenal return on investment. So that's another initiative that we have. The next one I'll lead to you and through our friend Ruth Miller, who I hope is listening in New Jersey. And let's plug her event for Thursday night.
Yes, let's not forget there is a young professional event in New York on Thursday night, which actually is sold out.
Yeah.
So apparently Ruth doesn't even need our plug. But
Let me give her a plug. We give her a lot of assignments with very little oversight and very little runway. She takes everything from ground zero, and she can make wine from water.
Right, and this event, one of the exciting things about it, and that she's so proud of, and as we all should be, is that it's planned by our donors. So she has a committee of 20 to 30 bone marrow blood stem cell donors who decided that their donation wasn't enough. Well, it was, but they decided to take it one step further and plan this event. It's a fundraiser for Gift of Life. There's going to be raffles there. There's going to be another meeting of a donor and recipient at the event. And again, it's such a special event because it's planned by actual donors who are more excited than anybody to support Gift of Life, and especially in this sense. And honestly, they're the future of Gift of Life, as I know we've spoke about.
It's such a great demographic to target, and you could explain why. We never really targeted so much the young professionals before for a signature event.
Right. And it's ironic because a lot of our donors are young professionals because, as we always say, the donors who are requested the most are between the ages of 18 and 45. So that is pretty much the young professional age.
No, it's great. I was joking, and Ruth and I were emailing back and forth today in jest. Well, it wasn't in jest, it's the truth. I said, I'm hoping that we could get 150. Then she's like, no, Greg, I'm confident that it's going to be 250. I said, Ruth, that's ambitious. I don't want you to be upset. So as truth unfolds with 2 days before the event, we're going to have over 300.
Yeah, don't mess with Ruth.
Don't mess with Ruth. That may be our 2015 campaign, but Ruth, if you're listening, if not, we have it on tape for you on behalf of Marty, myself, and the whole Gift of Life team. Congratulations.
Right, and we can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, no, we're going to hear about it. It's going to be a fun event, and it's going to be a springboard for people that are in that fraternity of donors and recipients that will continue their involvement in different dynamics to, maybe some subcommittees, maybe some ambassadors, people that'll do some public speaking.
Yeah.
But if you give her an assignment and you say that, it's going to be tough to pull this off, I would bet my money on her that she'll pull it off.
Yeah, it's true.
So with that, another program that she has, and up until a few years ago, Ruth was sleeping in bunk beds, so you could tell us for summer months.
Gift of Life actually travels to different camps throughout the country, and as I mentioned earlier, again, a big part of what we do is education. So we really try to visit camps during their staff week and educate the staff members of camps, which are, again, the target demographic, about joining the bone marrow registry, who Gift of Life is, how they have this amazing opportunity to save a life. And through the camp program, I should have pulled the numbers up prior to our show, but there have been thousands swabbed and many matches found as a result of the program, primarily because, again, it's targeting the demographic that is most requested. So we are always getting emails about matches found through the camp program. And another, the camp program is kind of also a sounding board for colleges because all the camp counselors are
generally
they're college students. So they go on from the camp program to run drives on their college campuses. And Leora, actually, who was here over the summer, only got involved with Gift of Life through the camp program when
Correct.
Somebody came and swabbed at her camp and spoke about Gift of Life. So,
and she paid it forward because she got me in touch with somebody else that went to camp that she spoke about how her experience changed her before she's going to be attending medical school. So we met another young lady from Ruth then Leora, that's going to be coming on to be interning with us this summer.
That's exciting.
So yeah, it's great. They're paying it forward, and the logical nexus is after they go to camp, they are going to go to their universities, run drives, and had the experience of being in more of an intimate setting to become educated on our cause. So the retention rate is extremely high, and then they have a running start when they get to university.
And coming full circle, the donor meeting at Ruth's event is from camp.
All right, so you know that it works, and that's another program.
Works if you work it.
Yeah, it works if you work it. So that's another project coming full circle by Ruth Miller. Marty, I know that we spoke about our walk this weekend, 500 people. We spoke about the Boston Walk coming on April 26th. I think we have another 3 coming up in the fall.
We've got New York, New Jersey, Capital Region, Boca, Boston. Walk.
Okay, so no, I like that walk. So everybody's going to be walking, marching, running, dancing, having their face painted.
You're in luck if your New Year's resolution was to get fit for 2015, because you can come to a 5K walk.
You could come to 5Ks.
You could come to 5 If you come to 5Ks, you will get a special prize.
Yeah, you will get a special. No. But if you go to 5Ks and say that 10 times quickly, please seek out Marty and myself, because you will get a special prize for going. So right now, again, we're looking at...
It doesn't sound exciting, but it will be exciting.
It will. Well, you know what it is? If they want to get fit, they could walk, jog, run, sprint. They can make the whole circuit. But once we get the dates firmed for New York, New Jersey, and the Capital Region, we'll certainly put it on the show.
I might get the special prize myself.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to be with you. I love all of them. I wish we could have one a week. I know that's a lot of tax to put on you, but at the end of the day, we could bottle them up, and that could be one of our books, Walking the Walk. But so that's just an interesting title. Another thing that we have, which is an offshoot of the Campus Ambassador Program, and for our college basketball listening fans, you know what March means. Madness, exactly. So we took our own derivative of March Madness, and we're calling it Match Madness. I mean, that's clever to the nth degree. Yeah, go figure. So
change one letter and it becomes amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's just incredible. Marty, you have me in stitches. But anyhow, Match Madness, really what we're trying to do is have a contest with, normally it's 64, but we're going to have 68 because we're going to have some play-ins. And they're going to be competing, certain Hillels are going to be competing against one another to see who could get the most swabs, and in other dynamics, raise the most funds.
Through social media, posting things on Facebook.
Exactly, most followers.
Yeah, people in Boston might get extra points for coming to the walk.
Exactly, and we may throw that in. So during March Madness, people are going to advance. Everybody wins. So unlike the
everyone's a winner.
Unlike the NCAA, one team wins. But the beauty where we're changing the R to the T from March Madness to Match Madness, everybody wins. Whether you don't beat your counterpart university, you still win because you're getting awareness out, and inevitably we're all culminating our efforts to save lives. So while there's competition overriding, it's really cooperative. But it's going to be a fun event, and Alec and Nick are going to come on and tell you which universities move to the next round.
Oh, live on the show?
Live on the show.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know. So that if that's not incentive enough to listen, I don't know what is. So we gave you a flavor of what we're doing for 2015, and we're soliciting our audience today for their ideas as to what you, our listening audience, would like to see Gift of Life do next. Marty and I, over a couple of minutes, kicked out a couple of these things, whether it be a golf tournament, tennis tournament, family fun day, a speech by a medical director of cutting innovations with respect to blood cancer, to Grandma Margie casino night, and but you want to know something? If the 5 that I just mentioned didn't light your fire, we gave you something to chew on, and we want to know what your ideas are. So we're going to take a quick break. And again, we want you to call in at 1-888-565-1470, and we'll see if we could take the Gift of Life parade to your hometown if there's an event that you would like to see us run. Again, so we'll see you on the other side. We're going to take a few-minute break, and we'll be right back.
Are you in the market for a health plan? If so, please visit my good friend Gary at Health Plans Unlimited. No plan is too big or too small. Gary will customize a plan that's affordable and comprehensive, just for you. If you're interested, please visit Gary Goldman, the best in the biz, at www.healthplansunlimited.com. Again, that's www.healthplansunlimited.com. Or you can call Gary Goldman directly on his personal line at 954-303-6676. Again, that's 954-303-6676. And tell him that Gregg sent you directly from the Gift of Life. Health Plans Unlimited. We have the health plan for you.
ThrowItBetter.com. Do you need help with your bowling game? Are you taking the right 5-step approach? If you want to become a competitive bowler, even a recreational bowler that's considering joining a league, or a league bowler that is considering joining a tournament, you need to see Vince. He's going to show you how to throw it better. He'll get you the right equipment. He'll show you the right approach. And as a certified coach, he'll put you in the best position to succeed. If you're interested, please contact Vince at throwitbetter@gmail.com and tell him that Gregg sent you. Again, that's throwitbetter@gmail.com, or call Vince at 954-541-5414.
We want to extend a special thanks to our friends at the Boca West Foundation for all the wonderful work they do for Gift of Life and for all the meaningful service they give to the Boca Raton community. For over 3 years, the Boca West Foundation has generously supported local charities in the Boca Raton area. The Boca West Foundation. It's all about the kids. Welcome back to the Gift of Life with Gregg, the show that talks about giving and receiving. If you'd like to call into our show, we'd love to hear from you. Please call 888-565-1470. Again, that's 888-565-1470. And now, back to our show.
Welcome back to the Gift of Life with Gregg on Tuesday, January 20th, 2015. Again, we put out a challenge to our audience, or really seeking their advice, Marty. What would they like Gift of Life to do? An event, a walk, a contest, golf tournament, tennis tournament. Please call in at 1-888-565-1470. And we got one tweet when we went to commercial break from Brenda. Brenda seems to have a sweet tooth, and she wants to have an ice cream social.
Ooh.
I'd actually like to join. And she's from Coral Springs, so she'd like to have an ice cream party, make it kid-friendly, where you make your own sundaes.
I like the sounds of that.
Yeah, I like the taste of that. So that one was that one. Keep them coming.
Speaking of Twitter, you can follow Gift of Life at Gift of Life.
Oh, that's where we're at.
Or we're on Facebook too. And on Facebook, you'll be able to see a bunch of pictures from the walk that we just had and find out the latest breaking news of Gift of Life. So
we just happened to have just gotten a tweet from Jeff in West Palm Beach. Did you guys ever consider having a softball tournament? And you want to know something? I didn't think about that, but that could be a decent idea. Have different corporate teams play.
Yeah. Or one Gift of Life staff versus other local businesses. That could be interesting.
a round robin event for the day. So that Jeff, I want to thank you. That was pretty decent. That was decent. It wouldn't be a lot to put together. We could get that out. And Jeff, we're definitely going to solicit people, and look for that on our website, because that's a pretty good idea. I like what Brenda said about the ice cream social. I heard of that one, and that's something that, is a kid-friendly day. So that's going to be exciting. We'll see what we have. I believe that we just have a phone call, so people are really, we've been getting the tweets, getting the phone calls, and someone is coming in right now. Ken on the other side of the glass. We're waiting with bated breath, as well as the rest of our listening audience.
Come on, Ken.
Come on, Ken.
Frank.
Frank is on the line. Frank, welcome to Gift of Life with Gregg.
Gregg and Marty, it's yours truly. How we doing?
Oh, Frankie, you want to know something? It's 4:52, and I got nervous. I said to Marty during the commercial break, I haven't heard from my most loyal caller, Frankie. So
He was getting very nervous, Frankie.
Frankie, I'm having palpitations, but now my breathing rate could go down to a normal level. I don't know if you've been listening.
As you can hear from this, up here in New York, it hasn't been so nice. I got a little sniffle, a little cold, but I hope you can understand a word I say between the accent and the sore throat that I've been carrying for 3 to 4 days now.
Oh, wow. No, Frankie, you don't sound like yourself. You sound like you're a little under the weather. But the question that we've been posing...
I thought I had an aunt growing up. Everybody's got an aunt. Jade smoked since the day she turned, 9 years old? And this is how she sounded from the time I was born till the day that she passed. My beautiful aunt, this is actually my grandmother's sister. But anyway, Francine is her name, and that's all I sound like right now. So my whole family keeps telling me that. Anyway, Greg, how's the show going today? How's life? What's going on?
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Frankie. I always like to see you between the 4 and 5. What we're talking about today is, what idea would you like for Gift of Life to occur this year? So what event would float Francesca Frankie Jr.? What event would you like to see Gift of Life run in 2015?
One thing that I certainly think is nice is, at least this is what my coworkers tell me, I think it'd be good if there's, just more fun events. So I get told all the time, I get invited to all these different events through work, whether or not they're sporting events, tickets to net games that everybody gets tickets to, but not everybody goes to. Things like that. I think to be able to see, donors and recipients, something like that, get together at an event like this, that would be nice. It really just showcase what you guys do a little bit more, to the public. I think once people learn about it, they tend to embrace it. So anything like that, I think would be nice to see, maybe in areas you haven't been yet. I know you guys are big up here in New York. I know you're down in Florida a lot, in D.C. Any other events like that, in different cities, I think the more you got, the better it'll be. So that's what I would like to see.
So you would like to see maybe us buy a block of tickets to a ball game with some people that want to learn more about us, and then we could talk after, or maybe have a bite before and then go to a ball game after?
I don't know, something like that. Yeah, I'm just thinking about, hey, I wish I had an excuse to invite my friends to an event that was something like that, where they could bring their friends too and their families, things like that. And I think just to be in different cities is always good. It expands what you guys are doing and who hears your overall message, which is always a good thing, I think. That
part is exciting. That's something that buy a block of tickets and see where we take it from there. Mm-hmm. That's something exciting. Frankie, how's the weather up in New York?
It's getting warmer now. It's getting warmer. It was pretty crappy for a couple days. Black ice everywhere.
Should I get the beeper out, Frankie?
What's that?
Should I get the beeper out?
I have to. It's right now. It's a balmy 23, 24 degrees. So I'm outside. I might as well be in a t-shirt. It's beautiful outside. This is about as good as it gets at this point in our lives. So Florida calls me. It beckons me every year that passes. I hear the call to sunshine. So pretty soon I'll be by you guys in Boca, and then we could do this in person, hopefully. But my knees can't take more of this, Greg. I'm getting old.
Yeah, you're a youngster. I know that you happen to be a football fan. So in our waning minutes, what do you think of the Green Bay-Seattle game?
Yeah, that looked like the most heartbreaking loss I could ever imagine. There's only one game that reminds me of, and as a Jets fan, and we could pick one of 35 games that break your heart. every season. The only one I can think of is that guy. I didn't 91, 92, something like that. Glad Thomas. What a bust he was.
Yo, God, yeah.
We don't go to the playoffs. Now that's the only thing I can think about. That's how I felt with these Packer fans. You know these Packer fans are sweethearts. They're up there in Wisconsin. They're eating their cheese. They're giving hugs. Everybody loves them. And then they got to go and lose to a team like the Seahawks that everybody hates. It drives me nuts. I can't even watch the Super Bowl. Seahawks and Patriots. I don't know. I hate these two teams. What am I supposed to do? I don't know. I was going to bet on the Boxers. And then don't tell Francisco that, of course. I mean, what else? I hate these teams. So that's my piece with that.
Frankie's taking over the show.
Frankie's taking over the show. I know we're going from sports. We're going in all different directions.
We've got a 2-minute warning up in the window.
Yeah, we got a
going?
2-minute warning. We got the whistle going. So, Frankie, I hope you feel better, and we expect to hear from you same time, a little earlier, so I don't sweat during the break. I need my fix of Frank.
You know what? I just hope you get the heart rate going. I know you're not exercising too much because you don't have to. It's warm down there. So I just want to keep it exciting. You guys have a great week. I look forward to next week, and keep doing your good work. Okay?
That's a deal. So Marty, we have a block of tickets. We had an ice cream social. We had a softball tournament, but it doesn't have to end when we go off the air right now. We have the 1-minute warning. If you have any ideas, you could certainly email them to us. You could go on Twitter, or again, call us at 1-800-962-7769 or at 1-800-9-MARROW. Thank you, listening audience, for all that you've done to spread awareness and inevitably save lives. Marty, congratulations on your Herculean task at the walk. And we'll be here same time, same place next week. Everybody have a great week, and God bless.
Thanks for tuning in to The Gift of Life with Gregg. I wanted to personally say thank you to everyone who participated in today's show. And I also wanted to let you know that you're interested in what we do here at The Gift of Life, please call 1-800-9-MARROW. That's 1-800-9-MARROW. Or you can visit our website at www.giftoflife.org. Again, that's www.giftoflife.org. Even though we're wrapping up our show today, remember, you must always unwrap the gift of life.